I want to thank Karen Mitchell and our CSL music team for the music today. This is our last Sunday before Christmas, and I want to make a quick reminder that we're having an in-person service this Wednesday, December 22nd at Unity of Baton Rouge. We're going to do a potluck and caroling and a service that starts at 7:30. All of the information is out on our website. Please join us. It's going to be exciting for us to be together again in person. In the meantime, today our topic is Love Lights the Way. You know, we're each here on the planet to love and laugh and be happy and have fun. We aren't really here to suffer. And yet so many of us suffer about one thing or another. So I'm wondering, since we're not here to suffer, why we allow ourselves to stay in the darkness instead of allowing to love light our way. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. In the meantime, just remember that as the thing itself is infinite, the possibilities of love abounding are infinite as well. We know that the divine is infinite, and the love of the divine is infinite and flows through us. So here's your question of the day. What is the one choice that you can make today to reveal all the love that lives within you and to allow that love to light the way of your life? One more time. What is the one choice you can make today to reveal all the love that is within you and to allow that love to light the way of your life? As I said earlier, our topic today is Love Lights the Way. And it's specifically the love within us that lights our own way to contentment on this planet. Khalil Gibran said this: "Your friend is your needs answered. He is your field which you sow with love and reap with thanksgiving." There's an outer love that we get from our family and friends when we're looking for safety or comfort or understanding in some way. And it's the love of two or more gathered together when we're in community that brings us into that sense of understanding each other and that sense of oneness that allows us to feel that love that lives within us each day. This is the love that teaches us how to love, because we experience love by being in community or in relationship with other people. It's the way that we know love. And yes, sometimes it's hard for us to remember we also need to love ourselves and not necessarily have to be in a relationship to love ourselves. Gibran was absolutely right, though, that when we allow ourselves to love and to feel that love, we do reap thanksgiving. And the result is that we have this sense of understanding and comfort and peace and ease in our life. Today, I want to concentrate on talking about doing whatever it is that we can do to expand that love that lives within us so that we feel contentment and calm and ease and grace. And I want to do that by starting with a story of two young men who grew up together. Their names were Samuel and Jacob. And they knew each other all their lives. They went to grammar school together and high school together. They even went to the same college. And then eventually they got married and had children and stayed connected, living in the same city, working in similar areas. And at some point, Samuel moved away. And as he was moving with his family to another country, they agreed to see each other at least once a year and to take turns. Well, one year, it was Jacob's turn to go visit Samuel. Now, Samuel lived in a country that at that particular time was in a state of unrest. But Jacob had a promise, and so he decided to go visit Samuel anyway. Well, as it turned out, Jacob's travels delayed him, and it got to be nighttime, and he was trying to find Samuel's home, and he got arrested. And the police were accusing him of treason and trying to steal state secrets. Well, Jacob, of course, was not guilty, but they threw him in jail, they tried him, they found him guilty of treason. And his sentence was to be hanged in 3 days. Well, Jacob sat in his cell and he was so sad. He wasn't going to be able to see his wife and children again. He wasn't going to be able to go back and provide for them. So when the day of the hanging came and the king showed up, Jacob said, "Your honorable king, please let me go home and provide for my family. I am not guilty of this. I will return and accept my punishment, but please let me go provide for them in my absence." Well, the king laughed. He says, "Look, you've been tried and found guilty of treason. Why should I let you go?" And so he ordered the hanging to continue. And at that point, somebody in the back of the crowd just said, wait, I'll take his place. And of course, it was Samuel coming forward. And the king said, "Why would you do that? You realize that if he doesn't come back and you take his place, you will be the one hanged." And he said, "Yes, but my friend is honorable. He's a man of integrity. He will show up." So the king says, "Well, okay." So Jacob went home, took the time to provide for his family, and Samuel was in jail. Of course, the exchange was the talk of the town. "Oh, well, I wouldn't come back if I were that man. He's just going to get hanged. I think his friend was really dumb. He's probably going to have to be hanged in his place." So the day of the hanging came, and it started to get later and later in the day, and finally the king says, "You agreed to take his place. It's time for the hanging." And so Samuel was there on the platform, about ready to have the noose put over his neck, when in the back of the crowd there was, Wait, I'm here. I'm sorry I got delayed. Wait. And as Jacob was coming forward, the king said to him, "Why would you return?" And he said, "Because Samuel is my friend, and I promised him I would." Well, the king was so touched by their loyalty and their friendship that he let them both go. And he said, "I only have one condition. I want to be your third friend." This is the love of friendship, which Gibran was talking about when he said the friend's field that is sown with love. And in this case, the love within Jacob was so strong that he agreed to keep his commitment and visit Samuel. And then Samuel's love was so strong for Jacob that he agreed to take his place so that Jacob could go home and provide for his family before losing his life. Jacob returned because of the strength of their friendship. And I think the end of it says it all. All the king wanted for pardoning Jacob was to be their third friend. That story is the essence of true friendship and shows how love can light the way for these two men and for people to see the example of what happens when people truly love one another. When love lights our way and comes from a place deep within us, it's a decision we make. Our opening song, which was Love is a Decision, is about coming from love. We're the ones who decide whether or not we're going to come from a place of love. So I want to invite you, as the opening song said, to make love your decision, to always come from that place of love. Always come from that place that lights up the world. And if you don't really know what it means to come from love, let me explain. Samuel and Jacob were great examples of coming from love. They trusted each other, they loved each other, they were willing to lay down their lives for each other. And it's easy to make our decision to come from love when we're with family or friends and we're all connected and things are going smoothly. It's when things come up that are difficult that it's harder to come from love. For example, suppose you have a fight with a friend or your spouse and you know that you are right. Deep in your heart, you absolutely know you're right. Sometimes coming from love means just allowing the other person to be right. Sometimes it means allowing the other person to believe whatever is in their belief system so that there can continue to be peace and calm and love between you. Has that happened to any of you? I know it happens to me. And sometimes I dig in my heels and I just want to be right. And you know what? Right doesn't usually bring me peace and calm. And it certainly doesn't light my way. What if the next time that somebody pushed your buttons, and yes, we know that we installed them, but the next time that somebody pushed your buttons, you decided to come from love. You decided to choose peace rather than arguments. You decided that whatever it is that they were requesting, you could do it for them, provided, of course, it's not totally against your own values. When we come from a place of love, we see and we hear with our hearts. We learn to listen beyond the words. We learn to listen to what the person's expressing and how they're feeling. We learn to go beyond the particular emotions that they're going through and see the truth of what's happening underneath the surface. Think about when you might have experienced someone coming from love for you, possibly offering you comfort, or forgiving you for one of your little outbursts that maybe wasn't very kind. How did you feel about that? What did you experience in that particular moment? Let's get back to that opening song of Love is Our Decision. You know, it talks about love lightening the load. And it talks about when we allow love to lighten the load, we can really dance down the road. That's one of my favorite lines. It's up to me to dance down the road. We always have choice. So let love light the way and let other people light your way when you're struggling. It's true what Karen Mitchell's song said. We can certainly cry about our days, but it's so much better to laugh about the things that went right during the day rather than moan about all the things that went wrong. And we can certainly look back on our days and find things that didn't go the way we wanted. But we can also find things for which we could be grateful. You know, Jane Houston said that we have the extraordinary coded within us, waiting to be released. Don't you want to release your extraordinary within you? I know that I do. The way that we release that extraordinary that is coded within us is to allow love to light the way, to tap into that love that is within us and lighten our own load or lighten somebody else's load. Choose to laugh about our days. I'm curious how often you say to yourself, God is right where I am. Think about that for a moment. It's true. Ernest Holmes once said, "It's been said that we can know God only insofar as we can become God." When we become God within us, when we tap into that God within us, we learn to listen with our heart as well as with our ears. We learn to see the world with our third eye through compassion and kindness. The heart part and the hard part is doing that not only for others, but also for ourselves. I know we can be so hard on ourselves. To release the extraordinary within us, we have to remove all of those veils that we put on top of the real essence of who we are. I know that I've done that before. I've worn veils. And unless we can strip away all of those veils and quit hiding behind them, we can't get to the essence of who it is that we are. It's impossible when we're hiding behind our veils for our friends to really see the love that lights our way. And it doesn't matter how few veils you have or how thin they are. Every veil hides that extraordinary, hides that divine you from the world. I'm wondering, when your heart is exposed, if you were to step away from all your veils, do you like the person that you see? Because that is precisely when there is nothing covering up your connection with the divine. Make no mistake, those veils are real. We see them in young girls who try to be thin because that's what they think society expects them to be. We see them with people that brown-nose the boss because they want to get ahead, and it doesn't matter who they step on the way up the ladder. We see them with couples who fight behind closed doors, but then when they're out in public, people would think that they're the perfect couple. All of those veils keep us from recognizing that divinity that lives within us and keep us from letting all of the love that's within us guide our way and light our way to a life that we absolutely love. I invite you to try this the next time somebody asks you how you're doing and you're not feeling very well. Don't say fine. Tell the truth. I could be better. That doesn't put anything on them. They can then have the option to ask you about it or just to allow it to go at that. I sometimes say I've had better days. It's okay to tell the truth. As a matter of fact, if you really want the love within you to light your way, be honest. In Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes wrote this: "If one sees only unloveliness in others, it's because unloveliness is a strong element in himself. The light he throws on others is generated in his own soul and sees them as he chooses to see them." In other words, when we allow the love within us to shine light upon ourselves and others, we see the best in people. Eckhart Tolle said something very similar. To offer no resistance to life is to be in a state of grace, ease, and lightness. This state is then no longer dependent upon things in a certain way, good or bad. When we live in a state of non-resistance, we don't judge things as good or bad. We don't judge people as good or bad. We learn to be accepting of just what is. That's pretty much what I was talking about when I said, the next time that somebody pushes your button, can you just be non-resistant? Don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean that we have to be doormats or that we have to have no desire for things to improve or for there to be more peace in the world. It just means that we're allowing that peace to begin with us. We're bringing a sense of knowing the divine and that everything is in divine order and that divine good is in everything and every person. Sometimes that does mean foregoing being right in order to have peace. And sometimes, like the song that Karen sang was, it's about choosing love. When we choose love, we can be at peace. Sometimes choosing love requires us to let something go or to forgive somebody that we believe has hurt us. So I'm curious if you think that living in that way, you can make a difference in the world. I love that John Kennedy said, one person can make a difference and everyone should try. Now, I think sometimes we don't think we have the power to make a difference. There was a lady that was on the beach and a man was watching from his living room. The waves were coming in and they were dumping all of these starfish along the beach. And this lady was picking them up one at a time, throwing them back into the ocean. And of course the waves would come and dump more starfish. So he went out for a walk, and when he caught up to where the lady was doing this, he said, "You're not going to be able to make any progress. I mean, you just keep throwing them out and the ocean just keeps dumping more in there. It's not really going to make a difference." As she picks up one and throws it back in the ocean, she said, "It made a difference to that one." Sometimes I think in our lives we try to look at making a difference in too grand of way. You know, there are plenty of people that made a difference in a grand way. Mother Teresa, John F. Kennedy, Nelson Mandela. I'm sure that you have your own people that you see were great in their lives. You know, Beethoven and Mozart and Leonardo da Vinci. There were tons of people in the past that were great in their own ways. But you can make a difference. You may not be Mother Teresa or Mozart, but you can make a difference in your own life and in the lives of the people that you touch. In Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes wrote this: "The infinite is always at peace because there is nothing to disturb it. A realization of our own oneness with omnipresence brings peace." So here we are back again to that same thing. Do you believe that wherever you are, God is? And do you believe that each one of us is the place where God shows up? Because if you believe that, then you should be able to believe that you can make a difference in the world, that your love can light the way for others and for yourself. I bet you that starfish that got thrown back into the ocean was grateful to the lady that had picked it up. Edward Everett Hale said this: "I am only one, but still I am one. I cannot do everything, but still I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do the something that I can do." That was the lady's attitude who was throwing the starfish back into the ocean. We need to realize that we're here in this time and place for a reason. And we're here to do what is ours to do. And let me tell you, God has great things for you to do. If you don't believe that, surrender to whatever it is that you hear the divine telling you, and great things happen. I'm here to say that this Center for Spiritual Living would not be here if I had not surrendered to the greater things that God thought I was capable of doing. I think the key to love lighting the way is being able to love no matter what the circumstances. To remember that sometimes people are calling for love when they're aggravated and frustrated, or when they cut you off in traffic, or when they say something that you find hurtful because they didn't really think about it before they said it. I said earlier that Ernest Holmes had said we can only know God to the extent that we become God. And I think we can only know love to the extent that we become love. In Colossians 3:14, we read, "And above all these, put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony." I don't know about you, but I want to live in a world where things are bound together in perfect harmony. In A Course in Miracles, they have a phrase that they talk about. A happy outcome to all things is sure. God's promises make no exceptions, and He guarantees that only joy can be the final outcome found for everyone. I personally love the fact that God guarantees that joy is the final outcome for everyone. And if we allow the love that lives within us to light our way while we live on this planet, I know that joy is what we can experience. We don't have to wait for harmony or for peace or for joy until we die and go to our next experience. We can have it right here and right now. We can allow God to do the heavy lifting for us. As I was saying last week, we can take God as our partner, and we can experience that peace and that harmony just by always turning to love and being love in every situation. I'm not saying that's easy, because when things aren't calm, then it's difficult. But if we can be love, we can find that calm within us no matter what the circumstances. So I'm going to invite you to allow the love that lives within you to shine forth from your soul and light your way in every moment to a life that is filled with happiness and joy and peace and calm. Here's some words of Charles Fillmore that I think are appropriate here. Love is an inner quality that sees good everywhere and in everybody. It insists that all is good, and by refusing to see anything but good, it causes that quality finally to appear uppermost in itself and in all things. Imagine if each of us chose to see good everywhere and in everybody. Wow, what a world that would be. That's a challenge for this week, right? Can you imagine the world if each of us were willing to see good and allow our love to light the way? So in summary, let us each this week let love light our way. Let us see good in everything and in everybody. And to do that, reveal the love that lives within you. Strip away all of your mask. Remember Samuel and Jacob and allow others to be love for you, to help with your load so that you can dance down the road of life. Make love a decision and come from love. Choose to smile about your day rather than moan or cry about the things that went wrong. Release the extraordinary within you. Be you, all of who you are. And remember, you can make a difference. Remember that starfish lady. She was doing small little things and making a difference to a few starfish. We can each make a difference to one or two people just by smiling or being kind. So here's your affirmation for the week. How is it that I so easily and willingly make the choice today to reveal all the love that is within me and allow that love to light the way of my life? So your challenge for the week is to see good in everything and in everybody. And remember, as the thing itself is infinite, the possibilities of love abounding are infinite as well. Let's pray. Just taking a deep, nourishing breath, taking in all of this, remembering the love of Jacob and Samuel, remembering the starfish, all of those examples of love lighting the way in the world. What I know to be the truth is that the divine was in all of that. And all that the divine is lives within each of us. That we each have within us that ability to love and be love. So I know that this week we are accepting that challenge to see good in everyone and everybody. That each of us is uniquely becoming all that we can be, letting go of all the veils so that there is no layers masking that extraordinary which is coded within us. So I am so grateful. I'm grateful for your presence here. I'm grateful for this opportunity we've had to be together. I'm grateful for knowing that the God without is the God within each of us, and that God is capable of seeing love and good in everything and everybody. So it's from all that gratitude that I just release this into the law of mind, spirit, and action, knowing the truth that the divine's already called it good. So I can let it be, I can release it, I can say amen, and we can affirm it together. And so it is. And I know that right now we're all in the hustle and bustle of Christmas because it's less than a week away. And I'm hoping that you'll come to our Wednesday night service. And in the meantime, please remember the sinner in your Christmas giving. And I'm so grateful to all of you that have been giving throughout the year. I appreciate every donation. So just enjoy our offertory song.